When a fearful avoidant experiences jealousy in a relationship, it is not really about others. It is about their own internal fear of being replaced. But here's a really interesting thing. A lot of fearful avoidants, as soon as they feel jealous in a relationship, will completely shut down and deactivate. They never want to even let anybody know that they're feeling that way. And instead, they try to create as much emotional distance as they can between themselves and the person they're feeling jealous around in a relationship or possessive of in a relationship, causing them to in turn sabotage the connection. Because a lot of the times they're feeling that way, it might have simply been a solvable problem by communicating their needs and boundaries. So in today's video, I'm going to break down a little bit about the unique relationship fearful avoidants have to jealousy and why jealousy often runs so deep. We'll talk about the neuroscience of jealousy and 3 powerful steps to take jealousy and instead turn it into the potential to build trust, while vetting to make sure that you're building trust with the right person, making sure it's in a healthy way so that you're not trying to just rebuild trust with somebody who's trying to make you jealous on purpose, for example. So here's the first really important thing. Jealousy for the fearful avoidant attachment style is often rooted in deep childhood wounds of betrayal and abandonment or loss. And I want to dive into this for just a moment. One of the most marked characteristics of the fearful avoidant attachment style is the fact that they are always hypervigilant. They are always reading between the lines, noticing any little shift or change in essentially every pattern in a relationship. If somebody comes home and they've had a bad day, the fearful avoidant will notice right away. If the fearful avoidant goes into the workplace and they see somebody's in a bad mood or in a different mood than usual, they'll notice it. And that is because they are extremely hypervigilant. But I want to tell you that if you were somebody who truly trusted and felt safe in your environment all the time and around people at a deep subconscious emotional level, you wouldn't feel the need to be hypervigilant in excess. It wouldn't be something that was taking place for you all the time. And so because you're in this position of chronically feeling like you have to be on high alert, it's actually a symptom of having wounds and fears around people breaking your trust, people letting you down or disappointing you, people hurting you or walking away from you when you are getting close to them and being vulnerable. And unfortunately, that is often because that is how your childhood shaped you. And until you actually go in and rewire and do the healing at a subconscious level around those core wounds, those wounds of abandonment and betrayal, then you'll find yourself constantly on high alert. And of course, this landscape that then exists at a subconscious level in your mind is much more likely to cause you to have a lot of jealousy and fear in your relationships. Another major core wound that exists for fearful avoidance is often this idea that you are unworthy. If you ask a fearful avoidant, do you feel unworthy? They'll probably answer, some days I really do, and some days I feel the opposite. Sometimes I feel good about myself, because they are constantly in this sort of push-pull cycle, this back and forth cycle, including in the relationship to self. But if you observe your own patterns of behavior in your life, for example, if you look at all of the times in life and relationships that you are overcompensating, you are over-delivering, over-giving, putting so much, an excess of pressure on yourself to make sure that you are not seen as lesser than, or that you never, making sure that you never make a mistake in a relationship, and that you're the best partner ever, and that it's always the best date ever that you go on, and the best phone call ever. Why do you think you do that? Well, that often comes from a subconscious feeling of unworthiness first that you're compensating for all the time in your life. And unfortunately, this is also something that is going to feed in and drive jealousy type behaviors. And again, if you're somebody who's constantly burning yourself out to show up in a relationship and win somebody over and earn your worth, the moment that something makes you jealous, that's probably going to cut and hurt so deep that you're going to be like, I need to get away from this person. They are hurting me. I need to get as far away from this person as possible so I get as far away from these painful feelings as possible. And therein lies this cycle of you not only experiencing jealousy, but having such an immediate reaction to your feelings of jealousy, of shutting down, pushing away, that you don't get to process the jealousy. You don't get to process the wounds that are actually creating the jealousy and consciously recognize that they're there. And this very quick, abrupt shutdown behavior is something that actually prevents you from building trust with somebody who might actually be healthy. Like if you said, hey, I'm feeling a little bit uncomfortable in this situation. Can we put a boundary around it? Like maybe you're dating somebody and they're a little too close with their coworker, or their coworker's a little touchy-feely with them. If you said to them, hey, I noticed your coworker's a little touchy-feely with you. It doesn't really land that well with me. It's kind of uncomfortable to see. Can we have like a bit of a boundary there? If you have an honest conversation, anybody that is worth participating in any healthy relationship with will show up and be like, oh, yeah, like I didn't realize that was making you uncomfortable. I see that for sure. And if somebody responds by mocking you, by putting you down, well, you better have that conversation early because you better want to know that about the person. If you see somebody responding that way, then yes, that feeling of shutting down and pushing the person away, if that's how they're responding to you and they're not able to honor your feelings or your boundaries, I mean, then you want to know that so that you can walk away. Okay. So what I want you to see here first is that a lot of times you'll shut down so quickly, and that quick shutdown prevents you from solving the underlying problem around the jealousy you're experiencing. And this can keep sabotaging relationship after relationship. And at worst, I've sometimes even seen fearful avoidance shut down. And then in turn, as a subconscious strategy to essentially take their power back, they then try to make their own partner jealous on purpose. And then you're just in this really painful power struggle dynamic. And again, these are the things that make relationships so hard and painful to even be a part of. If you ever want to go deeper into healing as a whole, you can actually check out fully for free for 7 days our course all about rebuilding broken trust. And it actually starts with healing your internal trust baseline. If you just struggle to trust in general, if you're on high alert all the time in all kinds of situations, healing that wounding within yourself first, and then how to take action to communicate and build trust and let yourself get seen and heard and known in relationships. And as a bonus, as an actual giveaway, we also have the How to Heal from a Breakup course. And it's based on principles of grief to help you move through a breakup much more quickly if you've had trust broken in the past and feel like you haven't fully healed from it, or if you're holding on to something from a past relationship that you're wanting to let go of, or even if you just want that course in your back pocket, even with a friendship breakup or taking a step back in a family relationship. It's really based on minimizing the suffering from any kind of relationship breaking apart based on powerful principles of grief and how we process it. From a neuroscience point of view, Stephanie Spielman's research on rejection sensitivity actually found that people who are more prone to fears and wounding around rejection are more likely to experience stronger jealousy spikes. And in part of our research into integrated attachment theory, another big core wound for a fearful avoidant is often a wound around jealousy because they do have that anxious side to their attachment style. And this is really important because the healing exercise I'm going to share with you at the end will help you train your brain to separate out what's rejection versus what's a solvable problem through healthy communication. Paul Zach's oxytocin and trust studies also show that trust building behaviors increase oxytocin and in turn reduce hypervigilance. Okay, so that behavior of always being on high alert that we were talking about earlier, the more you have oxytocin because you've built in trust, the less hypervigilance exists in a relationship. And again, this really matters because it's going to help you tie in your healing to this process. So I've always loved to see where neuroscience and ancient wisdom actually overlap in a non-dogmatic way. And we'll tie this into our exercise. So in James 3:16, it says, "For where jealousy exists, there will be disorder." And this reminds us that jealousy is something that will disrupt your own inner peace and, of course, your relational harmony as a result. And it's something that we actually have to be able to heal and address within ourselves, within our own subconscious wiring. The Buddha says, "Do not envy others," and discusses about how comparison is suffering. It is literally a form of suffering, whereas peace comes from recognizing your own sufficiency. So how do we really arrive there? Well, here's the very first step. When you are feeling jealous, I want you to ask yourself, in this exact situation. So maybe it's that coworker example. Somebody's being, touchy-feely with your partner that's their coworker. In that situation, I want you to ask yourself, what do I make this mean about me? Or what am I afraid will happen? And this is actually a strategy to bring up that subconscious wound that's contained at a subconscious level. You're making the subconscious information conscious. And then I'm going to feel that sense of unworthiness, or I am scared that this person's going to leave me and I'm going to feel abandoned, or I'm scared that this person is going to cheat. And then I feel so betrayed and like the wool is pulled over my eyes. So I want you to ask yourself, what do I make this mean about me? And that's how you first find your jealousy wound, okay? Maybe you have a couple of them in there too. Maybe it's I'm rejected. Sometimes it's I'm not good enough or I'm unimportant. So there's different ones that can be there, but ask yourself that question. It's going to help you make it conscious. And then I want you to ask yourself, whatever situation it is that's triggering you, just because, for example, your partner's coworker is being touchy-feely with them, that means that I am then worthy of rejection. or that I'm an unworthy person, or I'm unlovable, or unimportant, or not good enough, or going to be abandoned. Can I really know that that's true? Can I 100% know that? And this is a cognitive behavioral therapy technique to help you just question these assumptions that we often draw. And although CBT doesn't get into this, it's actually based on your subconscious conditioning from past experiences that we carry these stories, carry these narratives within our subconscious mind. So we first surface it to the conscious level, we question it. And then I want you to ask yourself, what do I need in this situation to feel relief? And I want you to practice going to the person in the situation, should you feel like this is a healthy partner that you have, and say, hey, here's what my boundary is, or here's what my need is, and practice expressing it. And you can use that expression of your need or boundary as a healthy exercise. It's a win-win, because here's your win. Most of the time, you're going to see in most cases that somebody's like, oh, of course. And you're going to be pleasantly surprised. You're going to be like, wow, this person really showed up for me. All I had to do was communicate. Sure, it was vulnerable, but I did it. And I feel like this is a solvable problem now. Instead of shutting down and pushing away or being spiteful and trying to make the person jealous back. So that's your first win. And your worst case scenario is that the person turns around and has a really unhealthy response to this. And then you'll know that you needing to take a step back is healthy, right? You're like, oh, okay, maybe my alarm bells were going off for a good reason. And when I tried to approach or address this in a healthy way with somebody, they literally responded even in an even unhealthier way. Oh my goodness, this is a good thing for me to be aware of. And I should be vetting for this. I should be seeing if this is who the character of this person truly is. And then I have that certainty that it is time to step away rather than stepping away and pushing away without ever communicating. And when we push away without communicating, it's called sabotage. When we communicate, vet the person's response and then use that information to see and find out if this is exactly the right decision to take a step back. Now, this is called showing up from a secure place, consciously, clearly. You were really direct. You got the information you needed. So you have now positioned yourself for a win-win. Either you grow through that experience and become closer after it, or you get exactly the information you need about making the next step forward. I hope this makes sense to you. If you want to dive into the Repairing Broken Trust course so that you don't carry those jealousy and trust wounds from relationship to relationship, I highly recommend doing it. These are the exact tools that I use to heal my own wounds around this. I had huge trust wounds growing up. I was a fearful avoidant attachment style. Most of you know this if you've been following along with this channel. So it's some of my favorite stuff to share. Again, you can check it out fully for free. You get the Breakup course for free for life on top of that as a bonus. And if you enjoyed today's video and don't want to miss any giveaways or exciting content, please make sure you subscribe, hit the notification bell, and I will see you in tomorrow's video. Thanks for watching.